Okay, so um, more and more we're going to see regulations and just the different effects of how China is cracking down on their Bitcoin, and it's more of like just crypto as a whole, or any company that um, pulls in their tech or uses their tech or takes in any type of data or user data, and essentially this new theory, and it's not necessarily a new theory, it just kind of it makes sense the way everything goes around comes around, which is cybersecurity. Their latest reasoning behind why they want to keep techs in their position and or not allow Bitcoin is for the safety of their citizens. I couldn't say it with a straight face, and mainly for the storage of their data. So right now, the company that
China's absolutely trying to control its citizens. They are
it is,
already trying to do
Oh
that.
yeah.
and so that's why they're like, oh yeah, no, we're also doing this for the cybersecurity reason, guys. This is for your own safety. So I
But you
mean,
have to remember that this news isn't necessarily for us.
uh-uh.
See, a communist regime doesn't give a shit about what happens outside of it. It cares about maintaining control inside. So if you are looking at this as propaganda facing back into your own country, and you find a large enough group of people who believe this stuff, then they're just eating this up and they're saying, yeah, you're just a bunch of lunatics talking about China trying to control us. They want us to have more freedom. It's like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. So the company right now being highlighted is called Diddy, or Didi, and what they are is they're a ride-hailing service, and what they're being told is that they weren't allowed to IPO in their country, and this was huge because
In the U.S.
well,
China didn't want them IPOing in the U.S.
okay, they didn't want them IPOing in the U.S. I know they wanted to put restrictions on their data usage over in China, only because they're like, no, we want that user data, and it's
They
not.
basically were like, hey, you got a lot of user data that we don't want to give out. Don't go ahead and do your IPO in America until we have vetted you properly. And they were like, yeah, but all our investors gave us money, so we're going to do it. Then China's like, yeah, you thought, and slapped them real hard.
Yeah, so that's where here we go. They IPO this summer, and they're looking at being one of the hot picks of the summer. And so they were over here at the U.S. They got their warning from China, and they didn't listen, and they still went on to IPO.
And now, but to note, they are currently under investigation, and China has banned them from taking any new registration until that investigation is over. So you currently they cannot take on any new accounts, any new registrations at the time.
So I mean, the biggest question I have for you guys is a company who's just launched their IPO and they're getting backslashed from China. What do you see as their potential stock? Is this still going to be a hot summer for them, or is this going to be something that's going to cripple them? Or
Well, looking at that ETF I was talking about yesterday, that Invesco Golden Dragon fund that tracks like ADRs and Chinese companies and other companies listed in the United States, they were down. They lost about a third of their value since February. And
wow.
some testimonies from a lot of funds are saying like people are saying like Chinese stocks are very tricky right now, and they're normally very tricky because data transparency isn't always there, and there are a bunch of questions. But the problem is with the Chinese government passing all these rules and coming down on tech so severely, we don't really know what's going to happen, right? Because we don't really know what the effects are going to be. So owning Chinese stocks could be risky when you look at some companies that might take themselves private or might stop existing or seeing disruption to their operations, because China is basically coming and saying all this data now belongs to the state. It's a state-held asset, so we need to evaluate how much we want you to be able to be investing in other countries and being present in other countries, because those countries may gain access to what we view as our state asset belongs to us. So that's China, and China's got the power to do it. They have the power to do it. Whether we think it's right or not, it doesn't matter. It matters what have they done in the past, what are they doing now, and what are they capable of in the future. And I think that China is very capable of cracking down on tech companies to a point where you see a material adverse effect on these companies in the market. And I think you're already seeing that. I think you're already seeing stock prices get this kind of baked into it a little by little. And the news is just seems to be getting more and more aggressive in terms of their policies. So I'm not really, I'm never really a big fan of Chinese stocks just because of the lack of transparency. But right now I don't. It is a risk.
Yeah, this all falls into the development of their digital yen, and it will always have pretty much. They also in this article they reflected towards how they pretty much handled Jack Ma and his disobedience or however he was trying to go against them, and so
It's a good way to say that. They told him, hey, Jack, you know what? We're thinking you're getting too big. And Jack said, fuck you, I'll do what I want. And they were like, you disobedient piece of shit. Who do you think you're talking to? And like, but then China looks at citizens like, we are wonderful. We love you all. Who the fuck do you think you are, Jack Ma? We're all out here like, oh, hey, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? Jeez.
And so going on